Scary facts that will blow your mind, Part 1. The middle of nowhere is an actual place within New Mexico. The legend goes that an elderly couple lived out there with their dog and witnessed many strange and bizarre things. One night, they reported seeing a strange creature that they identified as a skinwalker. After reporting this to the police, the family had vanished under strange circumstances. Their dog, however, was left behind. This is the story that Courage the Cowardly Dog was based off of. Like and follow for more.
Scary things caught on camera. In 2016, a Kentucky police officer was patrolling the streets when he stumbles on something bizarre on the middle of the road. Running towards the headlights, a small figure emerges out of nowhere as soon as he gets out of the car to investigate. Take a look.
Deputy Jeremy Gatney of the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office was on a routine patrol when his headlights shone across something running towards him.
The officer spotted a child with no adult supervision running in the middle of the road and instinctively picks him up. Just moments later, a large trailer drives by where the child was running from. It's fortunate that the police officer saw the toddler first, or else this video would have ended in catastrophe. Check out my page for more videos.
Scary facts that will blow your mind, Part 3. It's been speculated by scientists that the light at the end of the tunnel when you're dying is actually you in the hospital being reborn into a new body. You're only given moments to sift through your memories and leave everything else behind. This, of course, is just a theory, but what if? Let me know what you think. Like and follow for more. Scary facts that will blow your mind, Part 2. The Hoia Baciu Forest is considered the most haunted forest in all of Romania. Hundreds of people have gone missing within these woods, among other things like screams, laughter, babies crying, people being attacked by unseen paranormal forces, strange balls of light, UFOs, and in the very center of the forest lies a clearing where no plant life will grow. It is believed that this spot is a portal to another dimension. What do you think? Like and follow for more.
When I was about 8 years old, I was taking my dog for a walk through the neighborhood with my mom. It was maybe 11 p.m. We lived next to a swamp/woods area on the edge of our neighborhood in Lansing, Michigan. I remember it being very silent and slightly windy. From down in the swamp we heard somebody whistling at us. It sounded sort of like a bird, but each whistle was different enough where the lack of consistency made it human-like. The whistle sounded higher, then lower. I can't really describe it. My mom had a concerned, slightly terrified look on her face and grabbed my hand and said that we should go inside quickly. I didn't understand because I was too young, but seeing my mom freak out made me freak out too. After a while, though, I kind of forgot about it.
Movie scenes you thought were CGI but are actually practical effects. In this scene from the first Spider-Man movie where Peter Parker acquires his spidey senses, Peter saves Mary Jane from falling when she slips on a spilled drink and also catches her lunch tray with all its contents. This whole sequence was real and no CGI was used in the making. It took Tobey Maguire 16 hours and 156 takes to get this shot. Weightlessness is often shot using CGI in space movies, but director Ryan Howard wanted to keep it real in Apollo 13. He used a KC-135 straddle tanker for achieving zero gravity. A single flight provided the film crew with just 20 seconds of weightlessness, and it took the film crew 6 months to get all the zero gravity shots. Now we all know Marvel is known for their extensive use of CGI, but the ending skydiving scene from Iron Man 3 was shot without CGI. The production recruited the Red Bull skydiving team to act out all the roles in the scene, and filming the sequence took almost 40 jumps in a span of 6 days.
What about Don't Look Under the Bed? Yes, this movie also made my childhood. We would watch this every October when we were little, and it scared me and my sisters so much. The movie is about this girl named Frances who discovers something very terrifying under her bed. It starts out with strange occurrences happening in her neighborhood and around town, like at school. It seems like somebody's going throughout the whole community playing pranks on people. Everybody in the whole neighborhood's alarm clock went off at 4 a.m. on the same morning. Dogs ending up on roofs, etc. Then Frances starts seeing this young man, Larry Houdini. But the thing is, only Frances can see him. He's trying to help her figure out who is playing all of these pranks because people are starting to think that Frances is doing it. But then things start to take a terrifying turn. Something starts to happen to Larry, and they discover that something much more sinister is at fault here. Have you guys seen this movie? And if you have, let me know what you thought about it in the comments.
Disturbing facts that may ruin your day. You are the oldest that you have ever been and the youngest that you will ever be. Your bed absorbs 26 gallons of your sweat every year. There are 15 dead people for every one person alive. Science can't measure exactly how strong a gorilla is, so there's no sure way on how to contain them. The gorilla enclosures at zoos are just based on trust. Every 18 minutes, someone in the United States has a brain aneurysm that ruptures. Vampire moths are real and can feed on the blood of humans. A jar of peanut butter contains 10 or more rodent hairs and can contain up to hundreds of insect fragments. Big Bird almost joined NASA's Challenger mission to help kids become more interested in space. Millions of kids would have watched Big Bird and the Challenger space shuttle explode on live television. Follow for more.
This is a true horrifying story. Part 66. This story happened in the early 2000s. It was late at night. A woman was driving in an unfamiliar area. Her car was old and unreliable, and soon she realized that she had to make a stop for gas. Luckily, she came across a gas station in a few minutes. The gas station was very old-fashioned, in the middle of nowhere. But something about this gas station seems very off. Afraid that she might not find another gas station close by, she reluctantly pulled up and she asked an attendant to fill up the tank. The attendant seemed really nervous as he was filling up the tank, but he finished his job. He then moved towards her car window for payment. She hands him the money. He carefully examined it and told her that the bill was a counterfeit or a fake. The attendant explained that he would have to take her back inside in order to call his manager about the counterfeit bill, as it had to be reported to the bank. She got convinced. She goes inside and sits down. The attendant walks towards the station gates and locks the doors. He turns around and tells her, "The bill is not a counterfeit." At this point, she froze, thinking she's about to get abused. He tells her this: "I had to get you out of the car because there was a man with a hatchet hiding in the back seat." This kind of crime is very common in the West. It is terrifying to realize that you are driving down the highway for a whole hour with another person hiding in your car, waiting for the right moment.
Warning, this video may be disturbing or upsetting to some audiences. I'm a search and rescue officer for the U.S. Forest Service. I have some stories to tell. I have a pretty good track record for finding missing people. Most of the time they just wander off the path or slip down a small cliff, and they can't find their way back. The majority of them have heard the old "stay where you are" thing, and they don't wander far. But I've had 2 cases where that didn't happen. Both bother me a lot, and I use them as motivation to search even harder on the missing person cases I get called on. The first was a little boy who was out berry picking with his parents. He and his sister were together, and both of them went missing around the same time. Their parents lost sight of them for a few seconds, and in that time both the kids apparently wandered off. When their parents couldn't find them, they called us, and we came out to search the area. We found the daughter pretty quickly, and when we asked where her brother was, she told us that he'd been taken away by the bearmen. She said he gave her berries and told her to stay quiet, that he wanted to play with her brother for a while. The last she saw of her brother, he was riding on the shoulders of the bearman and seemed calm. Of course, our first thought was abduction, but we never found a trace of another human being in that area. The little girl was also insistent that he wasn't a normal man, but that he was tall and covered in hair, like a bear, and that he had a weird face. We searched that area for weeks. It was one of the longest calls I've ever been on, but we never found a single trace of that kid. The other was a young woman who was out hiking with her mom and grandpa. According to the mother, Her daughter had climbed up a tree to get a better view of the forest, and she'd never come back down. They waited at the base of the tree for hours, calling her name, before they called for help. Again, we searched everywhere, and we never found a trace of her. I have no idea where she could possibly have gone because neither her mother or grandpa saw her come down.